afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Horsepower Obsessed. Today, we're going to talk more about the C8 Z06, specifically the fact that it was just spotted and heard doing some testing in California. Alright guys, so the C8 Z06 has been a hot topic the last couple days. We've been getting a bunch of leaks, a bunch of different information coming in, showing off the car in different aspects, and now we have another one. So at the very beginning, we got a leak showing the Z06 steering wheel, which of course looked just like the base model C8 steering wheel, only with more carbon fiber. Then we get some snow-related pictures showing what everybody speculated to be a Z06 testing in the snow. A lot of people started to talk about the fact that maybe that wasn't a Z06, maybe it was the hybrid version, thus testing its all-wheel drive capability in the snow. Well, it just came out today that this is, in fact, the Z06. It's not the all-wheel drive hybrid model, this is the Z06. So the pictures we saw in the video I did prior, talking about the Z06 in the snow, that was, in fact, the Z06. Now, this car is the same one being tested in the streets of California, doing what looks like some competitive style driving to, again, further test out the car. There are a bunch of websites out there right now reporting on this, and every single one of them agree this is a flat plane crank in this car. This has been something that's been rumored for a long time coming now, especially after the C8R came out and it had a flat plane crank. I talked heavily about the fact that the Z06 C8 was definitely going to start taking some design elements and even drivetrain elements from the C8R, and sure enough, here it is, the C8 Z06 getting the flat plane crank engine that we all talked about, and now it's finally here. Now, of course, when I say it's here, unfortunately, it doesn't mean we can buy it yet, but it is, in fact, here for us to listen to and watch test. So as you guys can see in these pictures, this is the same car from the snow pictures. It is fully dressed in camo and has black discs covering the wheels. These are there obviously to hide the design of the wheel, as well as hide what kind of brake setup it has behind that wheel. Again, the same kind of stuff we saw testing in the snow not too long ago. Now, in those snow pictures, we saw a much wider rear tire and even possibly a wider front tire. But what that tells me is this car's got heavier performance than the base model C8 does. I'm reading the roadandtrack.com website, and they're talking about this flat plane crank again, referring to it as the 600 horsepower naturally aspirated engine. So again, I'm hearing these rumors pop up with the 600 horsepower. I'm not hearing anything more than that. I know a lot of you guys in the comment section want to see the 700 or 800 horsepower twin turbo flat plane crank, but I think that's going to be reserved for the ZR1 or the Zora at this point. I'm seeing this 600 number pop up so often, it seems like that's likely to be what this car is going to get. I know a lot of you don't think that that's the way it's going to go, because how could Chevy possibly take a step down of 50 horsepower from the previous C7 model Z06? But this seems to be legit. It keeps popping up. Every time I'm doing any kind of research on the C8 Z06, I'm being told it's going to be that 600 horsepower naturally aspirated flat plane crank engine. So anyway, guys, I know you're all here to hear this car and to see it testing. So I'm going to put the clip in right here.
Yeah, right.
And there it is, guys. What do you think? I think it sounds pretty awesome. It definitely has a very C8R reminiscent sound. So like I said, all the websites are in agreement. This is a flat plane crank engine for sure. In this particular clip, I know it's not very long, but I don't hear any supercharger whine and I don't hear any kind of turbo whistle. So again, I am pretty solid on the fact it's going to be a naturally aspirated engine. With that said, a naturally aspirated flat plane crank, it's unlikely it's going to be anything over 600 horsepower unless they do decide to give the Z06 the all-wheel drive hybrid front motor as well. If they do that, I could see the Z06 being 800 horsepower with everything added up. Unfortunately, that's not in any of the rumors I've ever read, that hybrid motor is something that they were specifically keeping for either the ZR1 or the Zora model. But of course, all of this is rumors, so any of this could be possible. If the Z06 gets that hybrid motor, along with the flat plane crank 600 horsepower, you're talking about an 800 horsepower Z06 at that point. And I know that would make a lot of people happier than just 600 horsepower. There was a lot of rumors initially that the Z06 was going to get the Blackwing engine from Cadillac. There was a couple different reasons why that wasn't exactly going to happen, but the biggest one is that Cadillac said, no, we're not sharing that with anything else in the GM lineup. Now, with that said, it would be very easy for Chevy to take the engine, change a couple things, and call it their own engine. So I really thought that that's what they were going to do to maintain that smaller displacement V8 with a twin turbo setup to give at least a 700 horsepower approach to the C8 Z06. Now that we've heard this car on the street and basically confirmed that it is in fact a flat plane crank, it's unlikely that we're going to get the twin turbo setup or the Blackwing engine from the Cadillac side. At this point, it is an undetermined engine, but the flat plane crank is definitely there, and that is what we can count on having in the C8 Z06. As you guys know, the flat plane crank was very popular in the Ford GT350, but it had its own situations and areas of concern for anybody who is an automotive enthusiast. Basically, what I'm saying is the car had some problems because of the flat plane crank and the higher displacement. Ford was able to get a decent amount of horsepower out of the engine, but the problem is the bigger the displacement, the worse the noise, vibration, harshnesses are, and that causes some problems down the road with vibrations, drivetrain issues, all this good stuff. So what it ends up coming down to is flat plane crank could be an issue if Chevy tries to extract every possible horsepower from it. Basically, the C8 Z06 having quote-unquote only 600 horsepower is probably because Chevy wanted to make sure this engine was reliable versus insanely fast. But I'm not saying you can't have both. If they were to throw that hybrid engine on the front wheels, it would definitely kill two birds with one stone. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you liked what you saw, give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions about the C8 Corvette or anything we talk about on this channel, go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below or send me an email, horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to answer anything you might have for me. Let me know for sure what you guys think about this C8 Z06 and how it sounds on the street right now. It's definitely a different sound. When it comes to your normal Corvette rumbling V8, this is definitely not the same, but it's interesting, in my opinion. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. I have loads of C7 and C8 content coming your way you're definitely not going to want to miss. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next upload.